Last time I asked, what Pokemon is the mascot for the popular Pokemon competitive battling community Smogon, and what language is that Pokemon name in? The answer is Coughing. And Smogon is Coughing's name in German, which is a mix of the English words smog and poison. Both are basically what Coughing is all about. Now on with today's episode. Professor Pokemon with everything you ever wanted to know about Weedle. Weedle is number 13 in the Kanto Dex, number 27 in the Johto Dex, and number 26 in the Central Kalos Dex. Weedle is a dual bug and poison type Pokemon. With this typing, it is weak to flying, rock, fire, and psychic. It has a resistance to poison, bug, fairy, and a double resistance to fighting and grass, and has an advantage over grass, psychic, dark, and fairy. Weedle has the ability Shield Dust, which means that its special dust blocks the additional effects of attacks taken. The example I like to give is, say, Body Slam. Weedle will still take the damage, but doesn't have to worry about the 30% chance of paralysis. Weedle has the hidden ability Runaway, which enables a sure getaway from wild Pokemon, regardless if there's a trap move like Bind or abilities like Arena Trap. Weedle is 1 foot even, or 0.3 meters, and weighs 7.1 pounds, or 3.2 kilograms. Weedle's stats are interesting. Its base stats seem to have speed as the highest, but as Weedle's stats increase, it appears that HP will outshine speed. Defeating or capturing a Weedle will give you +1 in speed. Weedle's Gen 1 special stat was 20. Before moving on from stats, Weedle is tied with Magikarp, Carvanha, Igglybuff, Caterpie, and attack form Deoxys for lowest special defense of all Pokemon. It is also tied with Ghastly for the lowest base defense of all Poison-type Pokemon, as well as simply having the lowest base stat total of all Poison-type Pokemon, and it is also tied with Ladybot for the lowest defense of all Bug-type Pokemon. Weedle is starting to sound not very desirable. Well, let's go ahead and mention it can only learn 3 attacks leveling up. Poison Sting, String Shot, and Bug Bite. And before Gen 4, it couldn't even learn Bug Bite, which means it couldn't do anything to Steel types except for lower their speed. At least in Gen 4 it can do something, although not much since Steel is resistant to Bug types. Weedle has a 50-50 gender ratio and is part of the Bug Egg group and takes 3,855 to 4,111 steps to hatch a Weedle egg. Although Weedle is found in most of the game, so breeding is likely unnecessary. Starting in Kanto, Weedle can be found in Red, Blue, Silver, Fire Red and Leaf Green, Soul Silver, and Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. In Fire Red and Leaf Green, Weedle can also be found in the Pattern Brush, a forest on an island north of Six Island in the Sevi Islands. Moving into Johto, Weedle can be found in Gold, Silver, Crystal, Heart Gold, and Soul Silver. In Sinnoh, this only works if you have an original Nintendo DS or DS Lite and a copy of Leaf Green in the Game Boy Advance slot. With that, you can find Weedle in Route 204 and Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum has an added area of being found in the Eternal Forest. Lastly, Kalos. Weedle can be found in Santaloon Forest in X and Y, and X has an added location of also being found on Route 2. Breaking down Weedle's name, it means worm and needle, referring to the stingers on its body. Its Japanese name, Beedrill, you get bee and needle, which fits when you look at Weedle's final form, Beedrill. Weedle's French name broken down, you get the French word for maggot, and dot, referring to the circles on its body, although I think those circles are actually its feet. Weedle appears to be based off the larva of a wasp or a hornet. Its nose and legs resemble spots that appear on some larvae of some species of wasp and hornets. Most of Weedle's Dex entries talk about its stinger. Silver and Soul Silver say that it attacks using a 2-inch poison barb on its head. It can usually be found under the leaves it eats. I thought Gold had an interesting Dex entry. Its poison stinger is very powerful. Its bright colored body is intended to warn off its enemies. This parallels a lot of real-life animals. Kids, if you see a brightly colored bug or animal, it might be poisonous, so be careful. Apparently Weedle have a good sense of smell. Weedle has an extremely acute sense of smell. It is capable of distinguishing its favorable kinds of leaves from those it dislikes just by sniffing with its big red proboscis. Some Dex entries talk about its appetite. It eats its weight in leaves every day. It fends off attackers with the needle on its head. So it eats 7 pounds of food every day. That's a lot of food. Well, I guess I'm not winning any eating contests anytime soon. Although I guess if I were eating leaves from a forest, I might have different problems. Anyway, anime appearances. Weedle debuts in Challenge of the Samurai. Misty screams that she sees another bug-type Pokemon. Ash makes a really bad pun about maybe it's a Caterpie. Okay, I will give 4Kids credit on that one. That probably is the best they can do with that pun. See, in Japanese, Misty yells mushi, 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 which means bug, bug, bug. And then Ash asks ushi, meaning cow? So yeah, it was basically an untranslatable pun. Anyway, Ash battles this Weedle in hopes of capturing it. While battling it, a samurai bug catcher appears behind him, and after Ash says he's a trainer from Pallet Town, he draws a sword and the end of the blade is just inches away from Ash's face. During this confrontation, the Weedle gets away. Ash was of course upset that Samurai distracted him, allowing that Weedle to get away. Samurai basically says, "Don't blame me for your incompetence," which I'm all for blaming Ash for a lot because he's not as good a trainer as you think he is. But honestly, if any of us were in Ash's situation, a random kid runs up to us and pulls out a katana and almost cuts us with it, that's not our fault that that Weedle got away. Which means that Metapod and Metapod battle that got interrupted by Beedrill, and Samurai says that Weedle you let get away has informed the rest of its kind. No, Samurai. You are the reason that the Beedrill swarm attacked. If you would have let Ash catch that Weedle before challenging him to a battle, then none of this would have happened. Stupid kid. Anyway, that was the first of many episodes that Weedle appeared in. In The Ultimate Test, we see a weirdly colored Weedle that Todd Snap gets a picture of. This Weedle is green, and I know that Gen 2 shiny sprites were greenish. That's Caterpie green, not shiny Weedle green. Most likely just a coloring error in Pokemon. There are a lot of those in the show. Which I guess I forgot to mention shiny Weedle, so here goes. Like I said, in Gen 2, Weedle was greenish, but in Gen 3 on, Weedle was more of a gold-yellow color. The last anime appearance I want to mention is The Bug Stops Here. Casey, a friend and rival Ash met in the Johto region, caught a Weedle in the bug catching contest. However, the rules in the show say that only the winner can keep the Pokemon they caught, everyone else has to release it, so she had to release that Weedle in that episode. Manga appearances. In the Gotta Catch 'Em All manga, Shu befriends a Weedle and catches it. A Weedle also appears in chapter 21, 23, and 48. In the Pocket Monsters manga, Weedle is seen in Big Battle in the Viridian Forest, Pikachu's Birthday Party, The Hardest Bug Pokemon Wins, The Exam Showdown, and chapter 16 of the Diamond and Pearl saga. In Pokemon Adventures, Weedle debuts in Bulbasaur Come Home as one of the Pokemon that escaped from Professor Oak's lab. Later on, Green caught a Weedle to try to trick people into trading better Pokemon for it at the Pokemon League tournament in just a Spearow Carrier. And then moving on, Crystal failed to capture one and catch that Azumarill. Other chapters that include Weedle are Buzz Off Electabuzz, Murkrow Flies, and The Last Battle, Part 13. Before ending this video, Weedle's early sprite was called Kokana and was shown on Game Freak's official Japanese website. Look how cute he is in that big dopey nose. Reminds me of like a 1930s cartoon character. Weedle was the inspiration for the naming of the Stentorceps weedlei, a species of wasp. Both Weedle and the Stentorceps weedlei exhibit the distinctive feature of having a spine in the middle of the organism's head. Weedle is the only Pokemon who cannot legitimately know any normal type moves. And lastly, Weedle evolves into Kakuna at level 7, which we will talk about next time. But before I go, here is today's trivia question. Misty has 3 sisters, all of which are named after a flower. Which flower is not one of their names? A. Rose, B. Lily, C. Violet, or D. Daisy? Come back next time to find out. Until then, this has been Professor Pokemon, and hope to teach you again soon.